make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment and made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watched this work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Hey there, everybody. Forgot to upload my opening crawl today. That happens sometimes. Yeah, I forgot to upload it. I made it. It's sitting on my laptop over there. My production laptop. Not doing me any good over there, but you know. Well, I found it like I usually find these things. I'm like, okay, click the next thing. Nope, it's not there. Anyway, my father would be so proud of me. Probably not. Anyway. But, yeah, Father's Day is kind of like I think a rough time. I mean, the whole Mother's Day, Father's Day thing, I think it's kind of tough for a lot of people, in that it's not exactly built for people who have lost the parental units, as it were, and so. It becomes kind of like an endurance test for some of us. Over the years, it's been it's been worse than others. It's funny. I think I'm kind of like doing okay with it. After all, it happened when I was 9 in 1982. That's been a little while. 44 years. 44 years. Yeah. Like yesterday is my brother's 44th anniversary of his passing, because he died, they died on the 12th, he died on the 21st, so, but anyway, so after 44 years, you think, just another one of these things coming along, I'm good with it, but you're never really good with it, you're just not. But anyway, so, let me share this right quick. Let's see. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Well. Okay, here we go. So, So this right here, this is a picture of me and my family. Did a little bit of a grok enhancement on it. That's what it looks like. So there's a couple things I forgot about my father. I forgot I forgot he's built like a fire plug, I kind of forgot that part. Let me see. Yeah, I kind of forgot that bit. Nope, wrong one. Nope. There we go. All right, got the right one. But he was just he was a stout man. We got our thighs from him. We've got like weightlifter thighs, every one of us, and comes from that Cooper lineage. All my aunts and uncles have them. And he would play football in the yard with the neighborhood kids and drag them all the teenagers across the yard. He was just stout. Worked on a loading dock for all my life. The local mental hospital, he worked on the loading dock. That's where my parents met. Paid for a house. He was doing balloon payments on the house, so that short term we didn't have a lot of money because of that. But when he was passed in the accident, he was kind of had insurance up to the eyeballs. He had as much insurance as was possible, essentially, and so it paid the house off and everything like that. But he just was a good man. Lived his life, took care of his family, took care of his church. Was the only deacon at our church for a lot of time. I don't know if they ever had deacons while he was there, outside of him. But he just took care of everything, took care of the business. But I've got that in me somewhere. I don't always wind up expressing it, but I do have his work ethic in me somewhere, I guess. But let's think about fatherhood. And no matter how old you are or how long it's been since they've been in your life, or even if you even knew who they were, so I mean, even if you don't even know who they are, there's a connection there. That is innate. Let me play this video right here. There you go.
Growing up, I always knew that I was adopted. It just never crossed my mind that I'd ever find my parents.
Nathan Boos says he's gone through his entire life never knowing who his biological parents were.
I was adopted right at birth, right out of Marshfield. Is where I was born.
Nathan's adoptive parents knew who his biological parents were, but because Nathan never asked, they never told him. Until one day.
And my mom just happened to come by one day and said, well, you're friends with your dad on Facebook.
After continuing this conversation with his adoptive mother, Nathan discovered his biological father is a truck driver, just like him. And that's when Nathan got curious.
She just went on my Facebook and went through my friends list and brought up his picture. And I said, get out of here.
Turns out, Nathan's biological father has been working at Rock Solid Transport in Chippewa Falls with Nathan for the past 2 years.
And I fell out of my seat.
He messaged me on Facebook one day and asked me if I knew his biological mother. And I'm like, yeah, that's my ex-wife. I about fell out of my seat. I'm like, oh my God.
Bob, who has 2 other children with his ex-wife, says the choice to give Nathan up for adoption was a difficult one, caused by financial stress.
Back then, I wasn't much of a dad. His biological mom had chosen the adoptive parents. And like he said, because they were somewhat related. Distant cousins, I believe. But I didn't know that.
Both say they're excited to continue growing the friendship they already had.
Well, it's still kind of a shock. And there's days I'm not sure exactly what to say or how to act. I mean, he is my son, but yet we didn't have that father-son relationship growing up, and then we became working partners before we knew who we really were.
We're just taking one day at a time, 1 mile at a time, as we say.
So, I mean that's I've seen things like that happen. Where people will like wind up having relationships with their father, or they'll meet their father after decades not knowing who they were, and then it's like immediate connections there. There's plenty of these videos online. I watched this one where this guy, I was going to play it, but it bounced off of YouTube, and I didn't want to risk it. But there's this guy who was meeting his father for the first time, and he showed up, and his father was a musician like him. They both played guitar, and he's like, his father's like, you need to pick, because he was going to play his guitar, and he's like, he reached into his little watch pocket and pulled out his pick, and he's like, I got one right here, and his dad, this newly met dad, didn't know this guy from Adam, hadn't laid eyes on him in 30 years, and his dad says, you won't believe this, reached in his watch pocket and pulled out a guitar pick. I mean, there's a connection, a genetic connection there, and when you see how the court system has absolutely destroyed the ability for a father to like stay in connection with their children, through child support and things like that, like some awful child support agreements that are just punitive. And I know of a situation. I don't know of it directly, but it was related to me by somebody that I trust. But a man had a one-night stand with a lady in their high school years. And then years and years later, he meet this boy, this teenage boy comes up to him and ask him if he's so-and-so. And he's like, yeah, I'm so-and-so. This guy was single. He had never married, never had a fiance or anything. He's pretty much single his whole entire life. And this guy, he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, my mother is such and such. Is there a possibility, And he's like, yeah, there's a possibility. And he's like, well, I'm her son. And she says that I'm your child. And he didn't even know he existed. And they looked at each other and it's like, yeah, I think there's a good possibility, right? Well, after he acknowledges his son and he says he wants him in his life, he goes to the court system and says he's acknowledged that this is his son, and he hasn't been supporting him. And so the court system awarded her child support. And thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And immediately put that guy in the poorhouse. And because of that, he no longer was interested in knowing this child. And that happened locally, like within my city, the city that I live in. And so there's a lot of horror stories out there like that. And because the government has kind of has stepped in and kind of like tried to force itself into the father role, especially with all the benefits that single women get. And it's like, well, women got to take care of themselves, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, back when ladies were basically stay-at-home moms, that safety net was definitely needed. But for the most part, most of the ladies today are actually working themselves. And so a lot of safety nets, a lot of things like that. The whole baby mama phenomenon, things like that. There's a guy in Tennessee that had 21 different children by, I think it was 16 different baby mamas or something like that. And he was like so far in arrears when it came to child support that like they put him in jail. But I mean, it's like debtor's prison. How you gonna get caught up? Especially with that many baby mamas. But I'm like, why are that many women letting this guy have play with them? I mean, he's obviously gets around, right? But fatherhood's become kind of a joke. It's become kind of a, it's become kind of a caricature of what it once was, what it always has traditionally been. People like me have had that in their lives, but I also had a uncle after my father was taken from me. I had an uncle who was not that, and wasn't emotionally able to be that. And so I had the doting, involved, affectionate father. And then the back half of my childhood, I had the emotionally distant, disinterested, apathetic father. And so I had both of those in my childhood. And so I kind of have a unique perspective in that I had both. I had Ward Cleaver, I had the Little House on the Prairie dad, was his name. I can't remember his name, but the one played by, Michael Landon. But, I had both of those things. I had both of those, and even when there's a biological father that's not in the picture anymore, sometimes somebody can step in and take up the slack, like this man here.
It was tears of joy, tears of excitement, and it was hard to hold everything back. Since the beginning, I've kind of looked at him as my own, looked out after him as far as safety and trying to teach him right from wrong and things like that. Just kind of came natural with me. I wanted to be there for him, and he wanted me there.
Love you, Bob! Love you! That's my son! Love you!
Football was always a big deal. And when he expressed interest in wanting to play and I got the opportunity to coach, it made our bond stronger. I would never want to force the adoption. I'd never want to force my last name onto him.
Early in Buck's football journey, he got a new jersey with his legal last name on it. And it stung, because in his heart, he was already a McMillan.
And the fact that he got mad and ended up getting it changed the next season, it's a big sense of pride. And the fact that he wants my last name and he wants me to be that father.
I was just upset when they gave it to me because I almost immediately went up to them and I was like, this is not the name that I put for it.
That proved to be the catalyst Devin and partner Jerry needed to make things official.
He kept asking, through Jerry and me, when can we get this done?
After months of saving for attorneys, they finally got the news they'd been praying for. Buck was officially being adopted.
I'm not very good at keeping surprises, so it took everything I had not to want to tell him or not to tell him. I'm not a very emotional person, Buck can tell you that firsthand. So I was extremely happy. You know, it was tears of joy, tears of excitement.
With the adoption underway, they're hoping to have it finalized before Christmas. But for Devin, being Buck's father figure has always been enough.
You know, the world today is not the greatest, and getting him and seeing him do good and knowing that I have a hand in it and getting to be his father is an honor and a privilege, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah. You know, in the adoption system, one of the big problems we have in our society is the fact that adoption system has really made it almost prohibitive to try to adopt. Like they said, they had to pay for a lawyer to get his name changed, even though he wanted it changed, even though, you know, his mother was okay with it being changed. They still have to go through a lawyer to get his last name changed. My brother and his wife were asked to foster these two little boys. And these two little boys had never had a father figure in their life. And their mother was a drug addict. And her and her husband, which was only one of the boys' father, but they were both deep into drug addiction, and neither of them were fit to be parents. And there's a third brother that's actually with her mother. But my brother and his wife, you know, he's a pastor. You know, he's stable employment. You know, a very affectionate guy. You know, pass any background check you want to put on him. And yet, it took their mother colossally messing up to an extent that they can no longer excuse before he and his wife were allowed to adopt. And anybody could take one look and know that that lady was not capable. In fact, she tragically died of a drug overdose like last year. And those boys deserve so much better than that. They deserve so much better than that. And so my brother and his wife, when they got these two little boys, they were like not toilet trained. They weren't, you know, given tools to function in society. They pretty much had to, you know, teach them from scratch a lot of things that they should already have known. And but here he is, you know, finally gets the adoption through, and those two boys now have a father, and he gets gets Father's Day gifts and things like that. And he and his wife couldn't have children, so this is just a wonderful moment. And one of the youngest is a little redhead, so you know, he kind of fits in anyway. But the fact that, you know, this particular role that has been denigrated so much in media, denigrated even every commercial you look at. When is the last time you saw a commercial with a strong father figure that was at least a white man? I mean, look at anytime you see a competent, you know, father who is like in control of his family, you know, and is like on top of things, you will not see man, a white man. You know, it's like they went so far the other direction. I mean, used to, when I was growing up, yeah, there's a lot of commercials where mostly white men were the father figures. Yes, that happened. But instead of mixing in better people of color, you know, father figures, they just completely, totally went all the way the other direction. And you know, it gets very, it's just a hostile situation that, you know, people don't see that in culture anywhere. And so the father figures are always bad. We're talking from comic books. We're talking about, you know, television. We're talking about movies. Very rarely do you see a positive father figure. And that is social engineering. There's no doubt about it. Hold on one second. My parents adopted me when I was a wee baby. I was told at an appropriate time. I didn't know. I didn't know you were an adoptee, Mr. Barab. Awesome. You're a good guy. They did a very good job. But you know, I mean, the thing about, you know, father figures and fill-in father figures, you know, there are so many men out there that have kind of stepped into the gap for young boys that weren't their fathers. You know, over the years, I've had some very good, strong men to look up to. And, you know, for the most part, you know, but young boys have to be taught, or at least have to be given the equipping to reach adulthood and to be a man, because being a man is so much more complicated. You know, we got a lot of boys running around that never learned to be men, and to learn how to be a man and to figure out what that means, what that entails, you really need it modeled. You need to see it in the culture somewhere. And in that particular role, never really ends. My biological father's from Glasgow. Mother is from Orkney. I haven't gone looking for them though. Maybe you should. I mean, fill in some blanks there. That might be something to do. At least know where you came from. But anyway, this you recognize this video. This went kind of viral a few years ago. This particular judge, he does a lot of these videos where something happens in his. He's a really kind-hearted judge, which is like rare, but there's like a lot of videos of him in his courtroom and things that he's doing. But this one went viral a few years ago, and it's about a father, 96-year-old father, still taking care of his 63-year-old boy. So here you go.
Victor Coella.
You can sit down, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge.
Mr. Coella, you are charged with a school zone violation.
Beg pardon?
You are charged with a school zone violation, which means that you were exceeding the speed limit in a school zone.
I don't drive that fast, Judge. I'm 96 years old and I drive slowly, and I only drive when I have to. I was going to the blood work for my boy. He's handicapped.
Huh. You were taking your son to the doctor's office?
Yeah. I take him for blood work every 2 weeks because he's got cancer.
You are a good man. You are a good man. You really are what America is all about. Here you are in your 90s, and you're still taking care of your family. That's just a wonderful thing for you. Well, how old is your son?
63.
Yeah. And Daddy's still taking care of him, right?
I only drive when I have to.
Yeah. You see that young man over there? That's my son. Now, he's looking at me saying, Dad, when you're in your 90s, you're going to be driving me around. You're setting a bad example for my kid. You're putting a lot of pressure on me. Listen, sir, I wish you all the best. I wish the best for your son, and I wish you good health, and your case is dismissed. Good luck to you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
96 years old and still driving his 63-year-old son around. I mean, I saw I saw today or yesterday where somebody was saying that becoming a father is something that you'll do the rest of your life. And, I never thought of that. I never thought that that relationship never goes away. Not going to lie. I do have years where that particular holiday that we just went through is easier than others. So this one was tough. I did a short on my channel, if you want to look it up, talking about that my father founded this church, and he established it. He found the property. He organized it. He handled the finances, drew the blueprint, taught himself to draw a blueprint, and basically drew the blueprint for the church, and it's still sitting there like he drew up. And so, when I want to remember who he is, who he was, there's a story that I tell. This happened, okay? This is something that actually happened. I told this on my channel. It's on one of my shorts I guess 2 years ago, maybe. And I told the same story. So if you want to verify how long, the veracity of the story. But my father worked third. Like father, like son. The more third I worked, the more I respect him. And the man he must have been to handle all the kids, handle all the stuff he did for the church, and cook and clean and things like that. My mother worked second, so my mother was not with us a lot because of the second shift. But he did the cooking and cleaning and everything. Still played in the yard with us and everything. But we were coming home from church. It was Wednesday night. He still had to go into work later. And he was wore out. And so he decided to try something different besides threatening us with a spanking. which, he did consistent enough that it was a real legitimate threat, But as a matter of fact, he spanked us so consistently that I thought that's what you did after church. That's one reason I kind of hated church growing up, is because I thought I never associated the misbehavior in church with beginning of spanking. I just thought you go to church, you get your spanking, and then, but that's, I was always misbehaving. But he told us, he's like, if you will behave, long enough for us to get to the exit for, then we'll go to the Tasty Freeze. Remember that? Yep. We'll go to the Tasty Freeze, and you can order any ice cream you want. My treat. Okay, hold on a second. On Wednesday nights, mom's teaching evening classes. My dad watched MASH on TV. There you go. He let you watch MASH when you was a kid? Jeez, man, that stuff. I was watching spaghetti westerns, about that age, so I can't say much. But he told us, you behave, I'll let you have ice cream, anything you want. We didn't get treated very often because the finances weren't there. When you work a state job, you get paid once a month. And he and my mother were both working state jobs, and so there towards the end of the month, things would get really tight. So him saying, ice cream, anything you want, was incredible, incredibly rare. Well, we didn't even make it to the interstate before we were squabbling. I don't know what caused the fight, but my dad was doing the, swing behind the seat thing, trying to hit a leg, But we were old hats. We were old hats at the, the dad's trying to swat the leg. Okay, we're old hats at it. We were dodging it, and he got frustrated and he swerved, and got pulled over by highway patrol. Yep. So not only were we not going to get ice cream, there's a good chance we were going to get killed when we got home. Well, the highway patrol came and looked into the back seat of the car, and saw the young children. Saw my brother in the passenger seat, and who's a young teenager. And he said, well, Mr. Cooper, you were swerving a little bit there. Can I see your license and everything? Well, my dad gave him the license, registration, did the whole thing. And the officer asked why he was swerving, and he's like, oh, well, the kids were misbehaving, and I was trying to kind of like discipline them a little bit, and I swerved. And so the highway patrolman, who must have had kids, said, I'll let you go. This is a warning. Just when you discipline, try not to swerve in the road. Well, so all the way back to the exit on the interstate, all the way back on the exit that had led to home, we were quiet because we thought we were dead. And so he gets to the exit, and instead of taking the left for home, he took a right to Tasty Freeze. And he parked. He said, okay, everybody, get out. Whatever you want. I wouldn't get out of the car. Because I'm like, this is a trick. This is a trick, And he's like, nah, get on out of here. Get on out. Well, that night I got a pineapple sundae. And first time I ever tasted pineapple. And pineapple's been my favorite fruit ever since. So, that's the story in my head. Anytime I want to wonder about, my father, what kind of man he was. Anyway, all right. That's good enough. So thank you all for coming. We follow the White Rabbit. We'll see you next time.